Let's go ahead and drop this one. What we're gonna do here, so I'll crop this one. I'll crop this one, man, because I'm like, I just want to get it.
2 hours later.
You're just gonna start again, and then we can.
Should we just start again? You want to start again?
Yeah, make it easier for you.
Okay. All right. I got you. Ooh, shake it up. All right. What's going on, everybody? This is Childish. We're back at it again, coming at you with another video for Skylanders Ring of Heroes. It has been about 3 to 4 weeks since the Guild Evasion has dropped, and everybody's looking for that key unit to build. In today's video, we're bringing on Volkin with Volkin Games to talk about the 7 current Skylanders in the game that have the disrupt ability, and which one of them are our favorite ones currently in the game here. So, Volkin, how you doing, boss? What you up to?
Not much, man. Just living the grind, grinding up my my journey. But we're making progress. But thanks for having us back on the channel, man. Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you, man. I'm really excited to get into this concept. Now, before we jump into these 7 units that currently have Disrupt, let's go ahead and fill the people in. For those who don't even know what the Disrupt ability, give me a little Disrupt 101, Vulcan. Let me know what this goes about and why should we consider building one of these units.
Okay, so Disrupt basically just interrupts anyone that's charging. And I wasn't sure until today, until you and me did testing, which probably overlay around now or something, but the Disrupt actually, if they've already fully charged their charge skill and it's in the queue and your Disrupt goes before their ability, it still kicks that charge skill out of the queue even though it's already been fully charged. So originally I did think that you had to disrupt them while they were charging, but it's not actually the case. You can actually disrupt after they've fully charged their skills. So when you're looking to disrupt someone, basically as soon as they start charging, that's when you want to queue up your disrupt skill, because if you hit them either when they are charging or after they've charged, you'll still kick them out of the queue, which is really nice. But the other key thing to remember with the disrupt is that you do need effect accuracy to land it. It can be resisted. And with a lot of these invasion bosses, if you're going into them with the disrupt, you really want to land that disrupt because it's normally their charge skill that's really, really painful. And if you're going to miss that disrupt due to effect accuracy, then it sort of ends up being a bit of a waste bringing a disruptor for that purpose when they don't do it.
Right, definitely. And one thing to add to that too is that since we're incorporating the unit with Disrupt, only having 3 spots in the current lineup right now, we really have to take a look at these units that we're going to be checking out right now and see which one of them provides the most value, right? When we have that support role, especially if we're rocking 2 damage dealers, or maybe we're having a damage dealer alongside a tank here, we really want to make sure that whichever Disrupt that we have, it's mana efficient, and it also has some other key elements in it that can provide a little bit more support for our team. So keep in mind that while certain skills or abilities may look really good just kind of by itself, really look at the overall kit of the unit that we're going to be taking advantage of. Everything about it, from farmable to not farmable, just to overall mana efficiency, that's what we're going to be looking at today. So without question, I think the one that we have to start with is probably going to be the one that everyone's going to be excited to check out, because it kind of fits some of those categories we're talking about here. So the first one that we got for you guys is Gill Grunt. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below if you haven't checked it out already. Vulcan did touch on this here. Gill Grunt, probably one of the easiest units to build and one of the most useful units to build as far as people getting started out with, due to that sheer amount of mana efficiency. So as you take a look at the first skill, Anger Management, it's a 2-turn mana cost with a 16-second cooldown when maxed. This is going to provide the Disrupt, and this will grant a crit rate buff for all lives for 3 turns if you're attacking a frozen enemy. So obviously there's a side mechanic to that, having the frozen ability, but as you guys can see, if we look all the way down below, we have the Icebox passive that gives us a 70% chance to freeze a random enemy for 2 turns when the attack lands here. This originally starts out with a 50% chance, but this can get maxed out to 70%. So the last skill that we got for you is the Powerhouse. This one is just essentially an endurance reducing ability that heals the ally when attacking a frozen enemy. So again, considering this chance of landing the passive, it's obviously a nice little, it has a nice little synergistic approach to it. So why do I like Gill Grunt? For the sheer fact that it's farmable. The mana cost for that main ability that we're looking at is Disrupt. The Disrupt ability provides that critical rate buff, which obviously is a really good way for us to improve our damage overall, especially for the sheer fact that all of our Skylanders are starting out with 150 critical damage. So even though some units may not be built in a attack manner, any and all ways that we can improve our damage, so we can get our high amount of numbers for that what's it called? What's that called? I forget what it's called. Guild Evasion, right? It's going to be good.
Yeah.
And then the power hose ability, any and all opportunities to reduce the endurance. Even though it seems like these bosses have a ton of endurance, you're never going to get it down. Anything to reduce the amount of endurance quicker than most skills can do, I'm definitely down for. And for those that did not see a video that I made a while back when it comes to chill, I made the argument about why I think chill's really good. That passive, the freezing ability, is actually something that I was able to land on the dungeon bosses. From what I understand, the freezing capability still works on these bosses. There's no kind of immunity per se. Volkin, have you seen any kind of immunity on that, or do you know for sure?
Yeah, because I've tested Gill Grunt on my soft launch account, and definitely works really well. Like, you having your chill build is very optimal, like, because you get that good synergy with the Gill Grunt straight off the bat. You've got the focus aggro, the defense buff, all that's really nice. For other people that haven't got the chill, the Gill Grunt is still really good for that, because you might not get the crit rate up effect that often, just because what I do when I use Gill Grunt in the Guild Invasion is I wait to see the boss charging, and then I'll use that skill. And basically, that skill is just there because I want to interrupt. So I'm not normally going to have Gill Grunt's own freeze on when I do that. But what I normally do is, once I do that disrupt, I'll pretty much, if I land the freeze, I'll go straight into his second skill just to get that extra heal. Because, like you said, you can land that freeze. And if you do land it, why not take advantage, get some endurance down, and then also get some healing up as well. So he is very self-sufficient. But like I said, with you having the chill, he's going to be an even better option for you.
Right. Yeah, that and that's even something that I didn't cover when I initially looked at that skill. That healing ally, that ability to heal the ally. I mean, that's just another great reason why this Gograt is so good. It heals, it provides buffs, it disrupts. I mean, it literally got everything you want here. So, anything else you wanted to add about Gograt?
I was just going to say, on top of that, for someone like you with the chill, if your freeze from the second skill when you heal, if that carries over long enough till your next disrupt, the cool thing is, if you do get that crit rate up from Gill Grunt, it also increases your chance to crit on the heal. So it is just good synergy all around.
Good deal. Yeah, I like it. So let's take a look at the next one that we got going on over here. Now, we'll give you the lead on this one, because this is actually one that you did a lot of testing on the soft launch account there, Cinder.
Yeah, so Cinder is a unit I absolutely love. Without skill ups, she's a bit too mana inefficient because her second skill is a 6 mana cost, but her disrupt, being a 1 mana disrupt on a 10-second cooldown at base, skills up to 8 seconds, is just really, really nice. So the thing with my Cinder on my soft launch account, I got her to 6-star. She's still unawakened, but she hits like an absolute truck with the second skill. First skill doesn't do too much damage, but like I said, it's just that really mana efficient disrupt on a low cooldown, so you can squeeze it in anywhere. But yeah, so for her, basically, on some of the actual bosses on that account, all I do is basically bring Cinder and a Wham Shell and just keep buffing defense with Wham Shell, and I spam Cinder's second as skill. I've got it max skilled, so it's only 4 mana, and I just spam that all the time. She keeps getting drained, so she keeps restoring her health with it, because she's hitting it for really good damage, because it does ignore defense. Don't know how much, it doesn't state. But just that itself, I've gotten over 70k on some of the bosses just using a Cinder spam, and then as soon as I see them charge, I hit the disrupt. Now, once again, the one thing that doesn't synergize too well with Cinder, whereas Gill Grunt's a bit better in it, is that Gill Grunt, you're normally going to be building, I feel like, a bit more of a support type unit, so you're going to be more focusing on that effect accuracy. Right. For me, Cinder was my arena nuker, so the disrupt is secondary. So my effect accuracy is pretty poor, and I do tend to miss it a lot. So it's definitely something to think about. But all around, I just love Cinder as a unit. Like, she's got an amazing passive. Doesn't come into play really in the invasions unless you're killing an ad that spawns. But she does give herself an attack and defense buff. It comes on as a separate buff, so you can still get attack and defense buff on top of it. But yeah, she's just a really solid unit and a really mana efficient disrupt if that's all you're using her for. But unfortunately, she isn't farmable, so not many people will have her built yet. But if you've been lucky in your summons and got a lot of shards for her, she's definitely a good option.
Gotcha. And let me ask you this, since you had a chance to check it out here. You said that you were able to do a ton of damage with this one. You made a comment about, this unit playing the support role and trying to, get max value out of the utility that it brings here. Did you play around with any type of builds, or did you just go like full support, defense, HP, or how did you go about building it, since this drain is based off of the damage you do?
Oh no, I had her built just full crit rate, crit damage, all attack.
Okay. So you kind of went YOLO.
So
yeah.
just went YOLO with her, and she just does huge damage. So she effectively acts as my damage dealer and my disruptor in one. But like I said, not having the effect accuracy on her on that account really does hurt her a bit. But just as a damage dealer, she's amazing anyway. So why not?
Gotcha. And I think one thing that kind of shed the light is that even though we're all going up in there right now with Guildivation, we're some of us are doing good with comp, some of us are not. But truthfully, our rune quality, has so much more improvement to do. So I think once we start to get some of those 6-star runes with really good substats, we can play around with the builds that we do, like essentially making either a hybrid or like what you're doing, going full YOLO, so that you can take full advantage of everything that a unit like Cinder brings to the kit. To keep them alive and also provide, a decent amount of damage, decent amount of support here. So really cool unit.
Definitely. And on top of that, with the runes like you're talking about, everyone looks for strike sets for everything strike set. But if you've got, say, 3, like at least like say 2 good focus sets you can put on something like this, it makes you cover multiple bases. So it gives more value to more of your runes, basically. So you could do her on like a double focus broken, for where we're at the moment, on a damage build. So she's going to have good damage, plus you're still getting that effect accuracy just through the sets. So it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. Next one is going to be Mysticat. Now, if you guys don't know, this is a 5-star scanner that's actually available in the arena shop. So down the road, if you happen to get a couple with your regular summons, and then maybe you just need a couple of more to go ahead and do it. Like myself, I think I have like 47 or 48 right now, so I should be spending some money to do my arena, or do the arena and spend it to get it so I can test it out down the road. But yeah, it's going to be an option for you. So we'll go ahead and take a look at her kit real quick. Now, the first skill, Laser Painter, it fires a single laser at an enemy and casts evasion down for 2 turns with a 50% chance to regain mana by 1. Now, when it is awakened, it can regain 3 points of mana, which is a nice little change there. Still 2 mana, with an 18-second cooldown, originally starting at 20 seconds here. Now the next one, Cat's Familiar, a 4 mana cost with a 15-second cooldown. This one is going to be the disrupt ability that we're looking for. This one provides a disrupt, but also removes 3 buffs. So really nice combo right here. Again, you're going to see this quite a bit when it comes to certain bosses. Maybe not just in the Guild of Age, but maybe we'll find some in the Mirage Tower or other types of events that Contours might be bringing away here. The lack of strippers right now is just not there. And a unit like this that not just strips 1 or 2 but 3, tied to this ability is actually pretty cool. Now, it looks like her next skill, Paw Print, is actually a charge ability if you want to go incorporate her. Once again, if you guys are relatively new to this game, welcome to the Skylanders community. Some of the rare Skylanders out there, like the Nat 5 Skylanders, are going to have multiple skills, not just 2 or 3 that you see on some of the other common units here. So you're going to have quite a handful of skills and abilities to choose for, in addition to possibly like a passive or a leader skill, which we got going on right here. So again, going back to the Paw Print though, focusing for 9 seconds and then summoning the Copycat to attack the enemy. We're going to get a crit rate buff up for 3 turns to our allies. Once again, similar to what we saw on, I believe it was Cinder, right? Providing the crit rate buff there. Mysticat. I think it was
that was the Gill grunt.
Gill grunt. Okay, so Gill grunt, similar to the Gill grunt there. The crit rate buff is any kind of opportunity to improve the damage that you could do, regardless if it's a support unit, attack unit, whatever. I'm definitely down for this ability, especially for the fact that it is 3 turns versus 1 or 2 with some of the other weaker Skylanders that are currently in the game now. Her passive ability gains stealth for 1 turn when landing a critical hit, so this is going to synergize well with this charging ability if you use it. Now, if you don't want to rely on this one, or you're not using this charging ability, keep in mind that you can also do what Volkin stated. You can look at certain rune sets to provide the bonuses that we're looking for, like a Fatal set, for example, to give you that crit rate bonus, or if you want to run a crit rate rune, in order to make sure that you're providing that stealth when you get a chance. Any opportunity to be in stealth to not take as much damage there is going to be really nice. And then the leader skill increases the attack bar by 20% when maxed out for all allies in duels. Now this starts out originally at a 15%, which is pretty good, but if you wanted to max it out, it's going to be 20%. Now, Volkin, what is your overall thoughts on this unit right now as its current state?
Mysticat, well, the second skill only does removes 1 buffs at no skill ups, becomes 3. I feel like eventually down the road, it's just going to be a hard to the Dreamcatcher boss, because Dreamcatcher has a self buff of attack, crit rate, and crit damage, and then has a charge skill that hits like an absolute truck. So with the 4 mana is a bit expensive for the Disrupt, but it's basically nullifying everything that unit does, which is really nice. As for Mysticat in general, I haven't done much testing, but in theory, the synergy that gets brought with that charge skill and all that is really good, because the fact that you've got a crit rate buff, when you crit, you gain stealth, and then from stealth, you have an increased crit rate. Like you get 50% more crit rate, so you're going to crit more. So it's basically like you're going to just be in stealth the whole time. Yes, you can get brought out by AoE attacks, but I feel like it's going to be a really annoying unit in Arena eventually anyway.
Right.
But like I said, for the guild invasions, for the disrupt purpose, I definitely think eventually, once more people get the Mysticat, for that Dreamcatcher is going to be amazing.
Right. I'm liking it too, and I'm thinking when taking a look at these skills, like for guild evasion, I feel like the Cat's Familiar and the Paw Print are going to be the ones to go for. Whereas if I was doing PvP, I might go for the first and second skill for that, because I feel like even though charging abilities are really nice, like PvP, maybe we might be able to get away with it with regular attacks. But when we get into RTA, like people are going to see you charge up, right? So if they bring in some kind of unit, maybe they know your monster box and they know what you can bring. If they bring some kind of disrupt, you're kind of at a disadvantage because they have the ability to counter you. So what would you use?
For sure.
PvP versus PvE.
I think it would just come down to testing and seeing what happens. But if you can bring a charge skill that you have, like if you've got another unit charging and you want to bait their disrupt with this, it might become advanced tactics like that, but it'll just become a wait and see how RTA does actually unfold once we get into some more competitive play.
Gotcha, most definitely here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually we gotta jump into another one of the units that you had a blast building on the soft launch here. We got Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. Get to the choppers in the house. Chopper.
Yeah. I love Chopper. As like when you look at his backstory, he was like a little dinosaur that was like a runt and he couldn't do anything, so he built himself a chopper that he could fly in so he could be strong. And it was like, it's just a cool little story behind Chopper. But yeah, so he's very mana inefficient on his second skill. There's no doubt about that. If you just click Awaken, so we can check out the Awaken as well. So what happens is his first skill is really mana efficient, being a 1 mana and a crit rate down. Not the greatest effect ever. His Disrupt, like I said, super effective. So this guy is a unit you're not going to bring to any of these invasion bosses except maybe the fire and magic, because you can use him as a damage dealer as well. Right. So the reason I really like Chopper, his second skill actually does hit really hard. It is 6 mana. It's got that Disrupt. It's got a buff removal, which is also really nice. And the weird thing about it is when it skills, if at max skill, it says gains attack up for 1 turn when attacking a tech element. That just does not synergize with his kit as well at all. So I wouldn't even go for that, because when you look at his passive gives him a chance. If we scroll down a little bit, there we go. 50% chance to deal a strong bonus hit to an enemy when attacking a fire or tech element. Okay, that's still a typo in the game. It's actually fire or magic from my testing.
Gotcha.
So maybe that attack up might be against magic elements as well, which if it is, it completely changes it. I might even on my soft launch pump some skill ups into him and test it, because that might even make him a really good option for W10, the magic boss. But I'm getting a bit sidetracked now. So for this, basically, his second skill does really good damage and his passive does really good damage. And you can proc his passive off of his first skill, which is really mana efficient too. So if you're bringing him as a damage dealer, he can actually do really, really massive damage whilst having a disrupt in line as well. So like I said, I do really like him. He looks just too cool. So like that's my main point of where I started liking him. But his damage is really good too when he does proc that passive. It is only a 50% chance, but the fact that you've got a skill that's only 1 mana that can proc that as well,
Right.
is really nice.
Right. And just the only really thing that I have to add, I pretty much echo everything you say, is that even though maybe you're not going to look at Chopper for, Guild of Ages right away, maybe you're going to use it for something else. Like, even though, the 6 mana cost does not look appealing at all, I think it all depends on the team that you're going to be bringing. Whereas even if you have a high mana cost unit like this, if you're pairing it up with units that provide the support that you need at a relatively low mana cost, like 1 to 2 mana, maybe even incorporated with like a charge, then you can definitely make this one work and be able to cast this one quite a bit here. So
yeah, definitely. For me, for one unit that I'm loving in Guild is the Deja Vu. Even though mine's is only 5-star at the moment, Unawakened. Being able to use her with a charge skill and a 1 mana skill, she has a cleanse, a heal, and an attack buff. She'd be one that would synergize real well with Chopper because you're taking fire or magic where your Deja Vu's, so she's not getting hit too hard. She has all that extra support, and then you can use your Chopper there as the damage dealer, and you're already getting your attack buff and all that. And just one other thing about Chopper, which is off topic from the disrupt side of things, but his second skill is also a 6-second cooldown. Right. So it's really quick attack to use in arena, and you can really get through some kabooms with that skill.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to keep that in mind the next time I go up against your Kaboom, okay? Yeah, buddy. All right, let's take a look at this next one here. Zook is going to be the last of the 5 Skylanders that actually have this ability before awakening. Our next two that we'll take a look at, you actually need to awaken the ability or awaken the actual Skylander in order to take advantage of the disrupt. So the first skill that we got for you here, Zook, is called Bazooka Attack. 1 mana cost with a 10-second cooldown when max originally starts at 12. Just fires a bazooka and provides a defense up for 1 ally to 1 turn to 1 ally here. So the next one here, Focus Fire Power. This is our disrupt ability. 5 mana cost at a 9-second cooldown. But it does provide a little bit more endurance, originally starting at 11-second cooldown, but essentially it's just a regular attack that improves the endurance or reduces a little bit more the endurance that can go ahead and disrupt here. Now this charging ability, which actually I think is pretty cool, focus for 9 seconds and fires at an enemy, strays missiles, also attack random enemies, regains mana by 3 points if the enemy is defeated. So the fact that the random enemy, yeah, that kind of sucks here. But again, thinking about the bosses that we're going to be going up against, if we're only attacking one unit, that means all of your attacks are going to be going on one enemy or whatnot. So, I mean, yes, it may be a boss. You might not be able to take it out. But for other options, I mean, this ability to regain some of that quick mana so that you can possibly have that disruptability even quicker, I like it. I think I like it.
Yeah, for me, like, I see Zook as one I really need to test to find out. I'm not too sure but you got to remember in some of these bosses, they do summon minions. Like this guy would really, really shine against Gulper, the water boss. Mm-hmm. He summons that barrel that if you kill the barrel, he gets stunned. Zook, you can charge up, you can kill that barrel, bounce, and like if it one-shots that, it'll bounce and hit the boss as well. So you're doing damage to the boss. You're also getting that mana back, and you have a disrupt. So yeah, I think he can actually be really good. The one thing, along with the Mysticat as well, if you're using the charge skill, the one issue about using a charge skill with your disruptor is you've got to be careful with the timing that you're not charging as they're charging, and you miss your opportunity to actually disrupt. But the disrupt being 5 mana is really expensive, so it makes me not like it as much.
Right.
However, if you can make use of those cheesy extra adds that get summoned by bosses, mm-hmm. And you can get 3 of that mana back, it almost becomes him having a 2-mana kit using a charge skill and that skill. So it does become good. But once again, it would come down to a lot more testing to see how that does work. But again, if you're using him as your damage dealer, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it looks pretty fun. And like I said, I'm really curious to see what kind of damage potential he has on that. Again, some of the bosses that we're going to be taking on, they're going to be constantly casting adds. So if they don't have a lot of HP on that, maybe a strong crit on this unit might be able to take it out and, like I said, get that mana back so you can play around with some other high-cost Skylanders. So, cool. Let's check out the next one here. Now, this one, Light Hex, is a pretty rare unit. I think I actually have enough to summon it, but I haven't messed around with it because, we just don't have the shards to get it done, at least for me anyway. Let's see. Light Court Orb. 1 mana cost at an 8-second cooldown. Throws an orb of light at the enemy to inflict damage and grants a heal up on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. So a little bit of damage, but also providing that conditional heal that goes on the unit, in the right situation. So I like that. Kind of reminds me of the hot dog, first getting started out there with the heal. Then we got Shower of Light. 2 mana cost, a 22-second cooldown. This one is going to do an AoE that also provides effect res up by 30%. Now, this is something that I'm actually excited to see on a support-based unit. I know that a lot of people don't really think about effect res up, but I think resistance, since we're so focused on all these other stats here, having the chance to provide the resistance up is really, really good, especially when some of these bosses out there, when they have their certain towers that provide the defense breaks or other type of harmful abilities that are pretty crucial to potentially get a one shot. Like any opportunity to resist is really, really nice. So the next ability, the Purification. Now this one blinds the enemy with a luminous energy and removes 3 buffs. Now this is kind of funny because I don't know if that's just the wording on this ability, but is this? I'm guessing that this is just the wording. This is not actually like a blind debuff per se, right?
I don't believe so. I don't believe it is.
Yeah, because I thought that...
but yeah, that is the one that awakened.
It reminded me of the stage 10 boss, the last boss here, where he had that kind of like blind ability. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
They didn't allow you to do it? Yeah, okay. And then the Light Core Shield, this one provides diminished immunity for all allies in adventure. Oh, this is the leader skill here, which obviously it's going to be important if you run into a boss that has it, but it just kind of ultimately depends. It's kind of a niche leader skill, but hey, if it gives you a chance to provide immunity on a boss that basically relies on that, then hey, more power to you. So this one here, we have to awaken this skill, I guess, to go ahead and get that disrupt. So the disrupt is going to be tied onto the Purification skill, which again removes 3 B buffs when it gets awakened, and then has that disrupting ability if the target is focusing. So that's kind of nice that they actually state that it's actually focusing, because like I said, before we even got started with this video, we had to do some testing, like Volkin said, to check and make sure that the disrupt abilities actually do disrupt the charging abilities, not just regular abilities. Otherwise, that'd be super OP.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and with the light hex, so for guild invasions, I don't really like it. The diminish do put diminish on, but it's not really the end of the world, the diminish that gets put on by those bosses. The 6 mana disrupt is just really, really expensive. Yeah. And I feel like she's the type of unit I wouldn't be building for damage. Like, she is neutral to every element, so if you build her as a damage, maybe she's not farmable. It's going to be a long time before anyone maxes her, so you'd be using her at low stars as a tank unit, and the 6 mana just doesn't make it worth it. The one area that Light Hex does shine in the game in general is because of that diminished immunity. You can run her as your leader against the Wailing Labyrinth boss, and then it gives you diminished immunity, which is actually really big in that dungeon. If you've got a 2-man team that can get through some of the stages. Obviously, I don't think this will work against Wailing 10, having her just as the leader and just die off, because I feel like you really need that 3rd unit. But some of the earlier stages, she can be used as just a leader, just a meat shield that gets killed at the start, and then the other 2 units can go do their thing. But not amazing, but decent.
Yeah, I like its kit overall. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, last one that we got for you here is Sprocket. You want to go over these skills for him?
Yep, if we go where it awakened, yep, beautiful. So Sprocket is actually the only one unit in the game so far that I can find. Also, let me know if you guys think any other unit that awakens them to disrupt. These were the only 2 we could think of. But she has a 3-target disrupt. So it's an AoE disrupt, which is really nice. And it awakens it into being a defense buff for all allies, which is also really nice. So it's a really good skill. And like I said, the AoE disrupt will come more into play in Arena. I feel like she's going to be an amazing unit later on, because she's got the heal as well. She is farmable, semi-farmable from the hard mode of the mechanical boss, the stage 7 boss. But it's probably going to take people a while to get there, and then obviously a while to build her. But she does have that first skill, which puts parts on at only a 2 mana cost, and then the passive that heals an ally when attacking an enemy who's been turned to parts, which is really nice. And I think something else that a lot of people don't realize about parts, because I think we just look at the synergy between Sprocket and Robo, who are the only 2 that have parts, and it seems like just an effect so that she can heal and that he can proc passive. But parts also does increase the duration of harmful effects when they're inflicted. So I'm pretty sure, I haven't summoned Sprocket or Robo on this account yet, but I'm pretty sure it is if parts is up, then when you apply another debuff, it gets an extra turn on it. So it's a really good effect. The disrupt is nice being AoE with an AoE defense buff, like just as a general unit, and like for the invasions for everywhere, I feel like she is going to be an amazing unit. Not too bad on the mana costs. Like you said, AoE disrupt, AoE defense buff, and the parts with healing, and then you got effect resistance in arena, which against bomb teams can come into. But it's going to be a while before we do have her maxed and can really test her. But a unit I definitely think look out for later on down the track, because she does look really nice.
Gotcha. And to finalize the video, I'm going to give you the first go, okay? Out of these 7 units, which one, I mean, maybe I'm giving it away too quickly, but which one kind of excites you the most? Which one is like that one that you're like really excited about?
For me, like as in the one for Gill grunt, just because everyone can build him, it's really easy. But for me, if I could choose one to have, it would have to be between Sprocket, because I really want to test it because no one has, and Cinder, because I love the damage Cinder does, the low cooldowns, the arena uses for her, and just the fact that you can have a really big nuker with a really efficient disrupt as well. So it's a toss up between Cinder and Sprocket for me.
Gotcha. All right. So my original thought when I first got into this was Gill grunt, because Gill grunt, I mean, like I said, it's just super easy for everyone to build. It just can fit in your team so well because it just has so many great things about it. But the one thing that shines is obviously that low mana cost here. But after like reviewing Sprocket, in preparation for this video, kind of like you stated beforehand, like this, when it comes to incorporated in the unit in your team, even though we're looking at the disruptability, and yeah, it's AoE, and yeah, whatever. I mean, it's not even about that. It's about everything that a unit provides for your team that can just make it that much more efficient. So when you got things that elongate buffs, being able to disrupt AoE and then being able to heal as well, it's just crazy. I mean, it literally, and obviously we have not been able to test this one because we don't have this one, but we don't know, really how strong this heal is going to be when maxed out. This could be a really strong heal that maybe paired with Broccoli Guy, you'll be able to cover your ground, but maybe it's going to be something that's maybe doesn't need it. Maybe one of these new 3-star villains that are going to be coming out, we might be able to incorporate with some other kind of mechanic or some other kind of ability. So I mean, I guess we're just going to have to play it out and see what happens down the road.
Definitely. And one other thing I wanted to say, so this is like ones we want to test and stuff like that. I definitely recommend for everyone in general, if you're going to build one disruptor, just go Gill grunt. He's reliable, he's good, he's easy to farm. Like me, I'm leveling my Gill grunt at the moment. He's 5-star +5. I'm just leveling to get him 6-star. He's the one I'm building just as a safe disrupt option for these guild invasions, because he is just solid by himself.
For some of you guys that are getting started in these guilds, and maybe you're having a hard time at the end of the week, maxing out your level 10 for your guild request, your donation request here, then incorporating more 2-star or 1-star Skylanders, and of course this one being 2-star, getting more donations in there so you can get a little bit more value out of that reward at the end is going to be really nice as well. So, but outside of that, Volkin, any last words for the community that you want to throw out there?
Not really, man. Just thanks for having us on the channel again. Appreciate it, and yeah, I'll look forward to next time.
All right. Well, that's going to be it, guys. I want you all to do me a favor, though. I mean, I don't know how in the world you could not know Volkin with Volkin Games, but if you haven't checked him out already, I encourage you to do so. You're going to learn something from him. I'm going to go ahead and leave his link in the description down below so you can go ahead and check him out. Now, I will ask this, though. We have 7 Skylanders here that can provide this up here. Let me know if you guys have built any of this, maxed it out, tested it out, maybe on the soft launch, or out of all these ones here, which ones are you most looking forward to use in your upcoming guild evasion team? Okay, that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and Volkin with ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we will see you all in the next one. I'm out.